Coming up on News Center 6 at noon, a News Center 6 exclusive, we'll tell you how a former daycare worker is now facing charges after one of our investigative reports. There's also been a murder in the North Country, and we'll have the latest live by satellite from the scene in Lake Luzerne. Also, this was the tragic scene this morning on one Columbia County road. We'll tell you what happened there.
We'll see some gradual clearing for this afternoon. I'll have all the details for you coming up in your forecast.
And we may not be Popeye, but flexing our muscles is good for us, and we'll find out more from our fitness expert today. So join us for News Center 6 at noon. It's next.
Now, live, the #1 news in the Capital District. Liz Bishop. This is News Center 6 at noon.
And hello, everyone. It is the story you saw only here on News Center 6. Judy Sanders discovered that a daycare worker at the state office campus had resigned from her job after allegations of physical and verbal abuse. Well, the worker, Colleen Simmons, then got a job at another state campus daycare center. She was fired from there after the alleged abuses became public. Now, Capitol Police have moved in and arrested the woman. Judy is live outside police court. She joins us now with the latest in this saga. Judy?
Liz, as you said, last week we reported the Capitol Police were investigating multiple cases of alleged physical and verbal abuse against infants at the Weed Daycare Center in the Building 12 at the state office campus. Today, that teacher, 26-year-old Colleen Simmons of Troy, you should be seeing shots of her now, there she is, surrendered to Capitol Police and pleaded not guilty to 15 counts of endangering the welfare of children, all misdemeanors. There were 9 infant victims at We Care, and Simmons was forced to resign. Simmons is a married mother of 2. Judge Stephen Herrick ordered her to undergo a psychiatric exam. She was released on $2,500 bail. Her attorney, Ronald Dunn, defended her as she left the court.
When she gets her day in court, she's anxious to tell her story, and her story is that apparently there's been some terrible and very unfortunate misconceptions and misperceptions, and she'll get her chance to show that.
The parent of one of the children involved told me he is upset to the point of rage and anger. Sources also confirmed that We Care did not report the alleged abuse to the state's child abuse hotline as required by law. It wasn't reported until 2 weeks later when Simmons started working as a substitute at another daycare facility on the state office campus. When they found out, they reported it to the hotline, and she was also let go there. Liz?
So, Judy, the next step then is her day in court?
The next step is a psychiatric exam, and then she'll be back in to answer charges in court at a later date, apparently, let's see, May 30th.
Okay, Judy, thank you for that update on that story. Well, another story is unfolding right now in Lake Luzerne. State troopers tell us they are piecing together what looks like a murder. They tell us a body was found early this morning in a building on Route 9N, and Mary Beth Wenger is on the scene there. She joins us live by satellite with the latest on this story. Mary Beth.
Well, Liz, we just got out of a press conference with state police and the Warren County District Attorney, and they are not saying much of being extremely tight-lipped. All we know at this point is that they're calling it an apparent homicide. The man who is dead is 50-year-old Richard Rubel. He's a longtime resident of Lake Luzerne, and he was found dead at his home here at 1924 Lake Avenue. Found 2 in the morning, and yet police will not say how he died, how they got contacted that there may have been a death that occurred, and they won't say if there was a break-in or how long the body may have been there. The body was taken out of the home about a half hour ago, and it's now en route to Albany Medical Center for an autopsy, and what police are characterizing only as complicated tests. So again, the investigation is ongoing. Police say they are talking to potential witnesses even as we speak. A lot we don't know now, and we're hoping to get more information as the afternoon unfolds and they get more information from those witnesses that they're talking to.
Yeah, it sounds like if they actually held a press conference, Mary Beth, they sure didn't tell you very much, did they?
That's true. They gave us a statement. They said that's pretty much all we can tell you is some of these bare facts, because so much is going on now while we're speaking that they really can't give it away. So maybe we'll have more to give you a little later on in the day.
And this dead man is well known in that community?
Pretty well known. They say that he has been a long-time resident. They couldn't give us the number of years he's lived here, but he is known by the folks around here.
Okay,
yes.
we'll let you get to work and see what else you can dig up for us for later. Thanks for that live report from Lake Luzerne. One person is dead and another seriously injured after a rush hour crash in Columbia County. It happened on Route 9 in the town of Livingston, right in front of the Entenmann's processing plant. The names of the victims have not been released, but we're told that they are both from Columbia County. The injured victim is at Albany Med in critical condition. Deputies say it was a head-on crash, but that's all they're saying right now. The father of Sarah Ann Wood is right now in the middle of a 550-mile bicycle trip that he hopes will make sure no one forgets about his missing daughter. The Reverend Robert Wood kicked off the 12-day trek yesterday at his home in Washington Mills. Right now, we're told Wood and the rest of his group are on Route 5S heading towards Albany. He should be here later this afternoon. His daughter, little Sarah, vanished while riding her bicycle near her father's church in central New York in August of 1993. She has not been seen since. Bob Wood hopes to reach Washington by the 25th. That is National Missing Children's Day. 4 people remain in the hospital this noontime, 2 in serious condition after a plane crash at the Oneonta Municipal Airport, Investigators say the plane was landing yesterday morning when it was hit by fierce crosswinds. That caused the plane to swerve off the runway and into brush more than 75 yards away. The pilot is identified as David Anderson. He is a professor at SUNY Oneonta. And a frantic all-out search for 5 missing hikers has ended happily in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Police have found a Maine woman and her 4 little nieces huddled together at the edge of a swamp in a cranberry bog. No word on their conditions, but family members say all 5 are alive. The group had been missing since yesterday afternoon, and dozens of searchers spent the night scouring through the forest there. Even a Coast Guard helicopter was brought in that case. Adirondack Trailways is now offering a new luxury way to try to get people to take the bus to the Big Apple. Effective today, Trailways will offer movies and music on its New York City-bound buses. The company says this route is perfect for the entertainment buses because it takes almost 3 hours from station to station, and movies take about 2.5 hours. One customer we talked to was thrilled with the new service.
I think it's a historical moment, and I'm pleased that I got the right bus. I prefer Adirondack Trailways, and it's an incentive for sticking with them, right?
Headphones are necessary, and you can buy them at the station for $2, or I guess you can use your own. How about that? The chairman of General Electric is on the mend this noontime after undergoing elective bypass surgery. 59-year-old Jack Welch had 5 grafts Friday at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. He's expected to resume a normal work schedule in 3 to 4 weeks. The doctor who performed the surgery says Welch should enjoy a complete recovery and a rapid return to normal activity. And we have a General Motors recall to tell you about this noontime. The company says it is voluntarily recalling 111,000 1995 Chevy Blazers and GMC Jimmys. The company says it wants to modify a fuel tank cover that leaked in a crash test. There have been no injuries reported because of the problem. General Motors says it's just playing it safe. Well, new work week for Wall Street. Let's see what those traders are up to as they started off. And the Dow Industrials are climbing as they have been doing on a regular basis. Market up 12 points right now. AT&T is unchanged. GE is dropping a point. 9X is up 3/4. IBM is also rising. It's up 1/2 right now. Coming up, many want the bombed-out federal building in Oklahoma City demolished, but one person may delay the entire process. Plus, we will take you inside a Coast Guard helicopter as rescuers try to save the lives of 2 people off the coast of Massachusetts. We'll be back with that drama.
News Center 6 closed captioning for the hearing impaired is underwritten by your upstate Ford dealers. You're watching News Center 6 at noon on WRGB.
In Oklahoma City, preparations are underway to demolish what's left of the bombed-out federal building. There's overwhelming sentiment in Oklahoma City for tearing down that building and creating a memorial park in honor of the victims of the blast. That plan is to bring it down sometime this week, but it could be held up by the lawyer for suspected bomber Timothy McVeigh. He says he wants to take a first-hand look at the scene. In the meantime, backlash from the bombing continues almost a month after the incident, and Diane Olick has that story.
Former President George Bush lashed out at the NRA once again, speaking publicly for the first time since he resigned his membership last week over an NRA letter he said criticized federal agents and encouraged the growth of anti-government groups.
I miss dealing with the law enforcement people who lay their lives on the line for us every day, and I think we all ought to speak up against the excesses of these crazy people who put them in a bad light and refer to them as Nazis and refer to them as jackbooted thugs.
The man who wrote the letter, NRA Vice President Wayne LaPierre, called the language strong but necessary.
We're all for law enforcement, but if they make mistakes, we get it out in the open and we make sure it doesn't happen again.
The main abuse, he says, was the ATF's actions at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas in 1993. More than 80 people eventually died there.
I think what I find unfortunate is that there is this diversion going on in this country right now in which those who want to take attention away from the tragedy at Oklahoma City are saying we ought to look at Waco.
On the CBS broadcast 60 Minutes, Attorney General Janet Reno said she's been doing just that.
Obviously, I saw what happened, and knowing what happened, I wouldn't do it again.
In the meantime, Stephen Colburn, arrested Friday in Kingman, Arizona on firearms charges unrelated to the Oklahoma City bombing, awaits a bond hearing Tuesday. Authorities say he admits to knowing their #1 suspect, Timothy McVeigh, but they won't say if they consider him a suspect in the bombing. Diana Olick, CBS News, New York.
2 boaters are alive this noontime after a daring rescue off the coast of Massachusetts. The father and son team took their cabin cruiser out for a weekend outing. It was smooth sailing for most of the trip, but watch as the waves pick up and toss the boat around just like it were a toy. The Coast Guard tried to get a boat out to the pair, but it didn't work, so a helicopter was brought in. This is video from inside the chopper as rescuers plucked the sailors right from the water, and rather from the boat, which later sank in the water. Residents from Texas to Ohio are discovering just how powerful a batch of weekend storms were. In Illinois, 7 counties have been declared federal disaster areas. In Indiana, 2 people were killed when a tornado ripped their home right from its foundation and dumped it about 200 yards away. The owners of the house were still inside at the time. Damage estimates are in the millions for those storms. No storms for us, but maybe not quite as nice a weekend as we might have hoped, and today is just crummy. Oh, well, the sun just came out, didn't it?
Well, the sun is beginning to peek out, but still, I would call it crummy. Yes, clouds and showers around all morning. Eventually, we'll see some sun later this afternoon. I'll have all the details for you coming up in your forecast.
Talk about the sun coming out, and that's probably like weather of the last resort, because with all the computers and everything else, you just dashed out to see if the sun was out.
Yeah, made sure just to peek out in the weather patio for a second.
Doesn't stick around long.
No, it doesn't. It's popping in and out behind these clouds, and now it's become windy too. So the winds have picked up this afternoon, making it feel a little bit chilly out there. We did have some rain around this morning, but that has all ended. If you're heading outside right now, here's what you can expect. We're looking at cloudy skies, a temperature of 56 degrees. The relative humidity now at 93%. The winds are out of the south at 5 miles an hour, but becoming out of the west and gusting up to 20 miles an hour, and the pressure at 29.83 inches and steady. We're at 56 here now in Albany, 57 in Glens Falls, and 53 degrees in Rutland. Temperatures later this afternoon will try to make it up into the lower 60s, and probably will do so with the sunshine out now. But the real warmth can be found down along the southeast and down into Texas. Temperature readings already in the 80s to near 90 degrees down in Miami, Florida already. And this is where the real heat is, when we do have a frontal boundary now lying in between the 60s and 50s and the 80s and 90s out ahead of it, and that's where we're finding some severe weather as well. Our satellite picture shows a little frontal system. It's very weak. It pushed through earlier this morning. It's now just kind of west of Albany County and continuing to circulate back in some clouds around an area of low pressure. And at times we saw some showery weather this morning, a little bit of drizzle too. But all of that rain has moved off into New England and heading off into down East Maine at this hour and continues to move off towards the coast. And you can see some eventual and gradual clearing behind this system. That's what we're seeing for this afternoon, and that will continue into the day tomorrow. Our radar picture shows us the precipitation in the form of rain that we had this morning, all moving off towards the east. The heaviest concentration now right around Portland and Boston, where they're seeing some heavy rain showers over the past couple of hours. But for us, it is all cleared out of here, and that is a good sign for us, because now we're seeing some breaks in those clouds and a little bit of sunshine. But as this system begins to pass through the area, we'll watch the winds pick up as well. Here are these 2 areas of low pressure. We have one well above New York State here and one just off the mid-Atlantic coast. Gloomy over New England and the northeast once again, but this system will continue to make its way out. You do see a few breaks in the clouds here from central through western New York with a gradual clearing as this area of high pressure tries to make it into the area to clear things out. Looks like a very nice day for us tomorrow, though, with this area of high pressure sliding to our south, bringing up some warmer temperatures and some more sunshine, too. This frontal boundary isn't going very far. These 2 areas of high pressure keeping it steady there. That's where we're finding some severe weather in northern Arkansas this morning, as well as along the Carolina coast, as well as they're seeing some thunderstorm activity this morning. Here's your forecast page now for later on this afternoon. Or actually, we're not going to have that for this afternoon. That was a flip of the map, and we have the same map as we just had there. Cool and damp weather out west. That's important for us because this could eventually be our next storm system, which will bring in a little bit of rain by the beginning or the end of this week. Your forecast then for this afternoon calls for cloudy skies, then gradual sunshine, high temperatures right around 63. It will be breezy with winds out of the west 10 to 20 miles an hour. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, a cool temperature down to 43. For tomorrow, looks very nice. Morning sunshine, then eventually some afternoon cloudiness as another little storm system begins to approach from the west, 69 degrees. degrees for a high tomorrow. In your forecast for Wednesday, now there is a chance of showers with that system and a high of 65. The extended forecast now for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Fair skies Thursday with a high of 63, but temperatures are below normal throughout this period. A high of Friday on Friday is 60 degrees, and for Saturday, the chance of a shower with a high of 65. Weather phone forecast can be reached at 476 WRGB.
This is a cold spring.
It has been very cool this spring and kind of dry as well.
Yeah, well, okay, work on it. Thanks,
Okay.
Steve. Coming up, Mr. Food says he has the perfect recipe for a summer dessert.
If you love the refreshment of summertime lemonade, then wait till you see this easy summer dessert. Wow, wow, wow.
News Center 6 weather is sponsored by Capital District Physicians Health Plan.
Mr. Food is brought to you by Grand Union, where you'll find low everyday prices plus terrific red dot specials every week.
Okay, time for Mr. Food, and today he has a cool, refreshing dessert he calls lemon cheese bars.
With a warmer season here, nothing says refreshing more than the thought of sipping fresh, cool lemonade in the sunshine. Well, we can have that same lemon refresher as a dessert, too. Like this upscaled, old-time recipe that a lot of people sent to me, but doing it the easy way. Like this, and yes, any brands will work fine. We now use a yellow cake mix, a pudding-type one. We add in 1 egg and 1/3 of a cup of oil and mix it just till it's crumbly. And we put all but 1 cup of the mixture into an ungreased 9x13 baking dish, and we bake it for 15 minutes in a 350 oven. While it's in there, we beat together an 8-ounce package of softened cream cheese, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and another egg. And when it's really light in color and smooth, we spread it on the baked layer and then sprinkle on the rest of the crumb mixture. We give it another 15 minutes in the oven. Done. Take it out. Let it cool. And it's ready to cut into bars of, well, it's like smooth lemon cheesecake. If you'd like the recipe, sure, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope marked lemon cheese bars to me, Mr. Food, right here at the station, and we'll get it back to you for having a lemony light dessert for refreshing any warm weather time meal. I mean, when it's old-fashioned favorite, but today easy, all the better too. Ooh, it's so good.
All right, you had your cheese bar. Now coming up, our fitness consultant has another exercise to put in your arsenal for the Battle of the Bulge. We'll be back.
We're easy to get to, man.
Well, along with getting in shape, it is also important to keep flexible, and our fitness consultant, Marcie Fraser, has found an exercise that does both, and she joins us now, and what I really want to know is, why do you always follow Mr. Food when he's making desserts?
Because we got to lose that weight once you get it on, Liz.
That's right. Okay, what do you got for us today?
I have a great exercise, Liz, that's going to get you flexible as well as in shape. So if shapely legs is not what you want, this is what's going to get you kind of flexible. This is a frontward lunge, and you'll notice that I'm up on a step box, and I'm kind of leaning back. Most lunges lean forward in which your chest is over your knee. This one is really good for the rear part of your leg, and runners, sprinters, or even walkers is going to be able to use this as a great flexible kind of exercise. Certainly you're going to get in shape with this too. The lower buttocks, the hamstring, and the front part of your quadricep is going to be affected. These are superb. Let me tell you, Liz, you'll notice that my foot is up on a step box. You can begin by not having anything at all and just starting on the floor. That's what I'd recommend for beginners. Here you're going to notice that I'm bending at the waist and my chest is going up over my knee. That alleviates any back pain. Here's a side shot. Chest is really going up. My head is up towards the ceiling slightly, hands on the hips, and you start slow and you eventually lean right into that right side of the leg, which is up on the bench, and the other leg, Liz, is kept straight at all times. And as I said before, you need to start slow, and if you can't get all the way down there in the beginning, just go 1 inch at a time and bring it back up.
I would think you might be able to do that with your foot on like the bottom stair of your stairs at home, do you think?
Absolutely. I recommend using anything in the house that you can before you go out and purchase anything. In fact, if you use the stairs in your house, you can use the railing as something that you can hold on to for assistance, especially in the beginning or if it's getting more difficult for you.
And the one thing from looking at the video I wasn't clear on, based on what you were saying, you're not going to lean forward with your chest. What part of your body are you pushing forward then?
Well, there's two parts. There was 2 exercises that I demonstrated. The first one, you're going to kind of be an upright, and you're leaning forward. And the second part, Liz, you're going to the side, in which your chest does go up over your knee.
That's why I couldn't figure that out. All right, Marcie, thank you for that. We'll look forward to another one next week. All right. Coming up at 6 on News Center 6, we have told you a lot about those mail scams that probably pop up in your household every once in a while, but do you ever wonder where your money really goes? Tonight in our special Scam Busters report, we'll get you right inside a mail scam with someone who worked it. You won't believe the paper trail. And, of course, we'll be on top of any other news that breaks during the course of the day. Then, coming up tonight on News Center 6:30, how safe is your kid's school? Tonight, the results of a survey showing that weapons have been found in a school in almost every single county in our region. Tonight, the story behind that survey. And we're launching a special series on personal law in Part 1, what you should know about living together. So join me for News Center 6:30 tonight. And what about this weather, Steve?
Well, the clouds are finally giving way to some sunshine for this afternoon, but it has turned breezy out of the west at about 20 miles an hour now. 63 for your high today. For tonight, partly cloudy down to 43. Tomorrow, we'll start off with morning sun, but then finish with clouds in the afternoon and a high of 69.
All right, thank you for that, and we want to thank you for being with us. A quick reminder about our tips phone, 346-TIPS. If you see news happening, that's 346-8477. That's it for this Monday noontime. Hope your week is off to a wonderful start and that you'll come back and see us again very soon because we'll be looking for you then. Bye-bye, everyone.